Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Sean Daradier, the defense attorney in Nolan Wells case, he recently spoke about Mississippi's dark history of murdering black folks. Yeah, fam, murdering black folks and getting away with it. I'm talking about scot-free getting away with it. And man, this is bad, fam. I'm going to let you check out what he had to say, and then I'm going to come back with some stats that's going to blow your head off. Woo!
Thank you, Mr. Crum. Tampering charges in this case is absolutely unacceptable. Tampering in itself means that someone intentionally hid, destroyed, or altered evidence. If the district attorney's office has that evidence, take that evidence, put it together, and present it to a new grand jury. And if the district attorney's office doesn't want to do it, we are calling on an independent investigation by the Department of Justice, because we are here for the truth. And one last point I want to add to what Mr. Crum said. Daniel Irvin, when these boys said that he drowned, he was a high school swimmer. He was on the swim team. He was a healthy, young 18-year-old male. So that story that he drowned accidentally, it doesn't add up. It does not add up, and we want the truth.
None of their stories add up. They never add up. They don't have to add up when you have the agency that's supposed to be in charge of oversight looking the other way, or just straight up closing their eyes, or getting on the phone with the other agency, joking and laughing, going, yeah, man, get the fuck out of here. Yeah, you can't tell me that that's not happening, fam. That's why nobody's talking in the Nolan Wells case. Everybody's scared to death. They're scared to death, fam, because they got murderers in high places. They got murderers who are cashing checks with government employees' names on them, with government employees' signatures. Yeah. So I want y'all to check this out, fam, because this is cold-blooded. We hear about these names all the time. Most recently, we know about Nolan Wells. We know now about Daniel Irvin, Tyler Smith. We know about Damon Cameron, right? But this list, and this is just Mississippi, y'all. This ain't around the country. I'm just talking about Mississippi. We know about Trey Reed. But let me tell you something, fam. This is cold-blooded. This list that I'm about to give y'all, these cases range from unsolved or controversial modern deaths to historically well-documented civil rights era murders. Historically. So back in 1939, Billie Holiday had a song called Strange Fruit. And what she was talking about was black bodies hanging from trees in Mississippi. If you really think about it, family, there ain't a whole lot that has changed. So let's start with Nolan Wells. You know, he was found dead on July 6th. Yeah, they say he drowned. The police rushed to judgment to say it was foul play. We know that. They were setting it up. Okay, you may not know about Rasheem Carter. Rasheem disappeared after telling his mama he feared for his life, and his remains were later found in a Mississippi woods under circumstances that led his family to question the official findings. You had Dexter Wade in 2023. Dexter was struck and killed by a vehicle in Jackson, Mississippi, and was buried in a grave without his family's knowledge. He was allegedly struck by a police officer, and they buried him without Okay, Otis Byrd, 2015. Otis's body was found hanging from a tree in Claiborne County, leading to a federal investigation before officials ruled the death a suicide. You had Jonathan Sanders in 2015 also. Jonathan died after an encounter with a Stonewall police officer whose actions became the subject of a federal civil rights investigation. You know about Emmett Till from 1955, and we're getting into the historical names now, the historical cases. Emmett Till was a 14-year-old Chicago teenager who was kidnapped, tortured, and murdered in Mississippi after being accused of offending a white woman, becoming a defining moment in the civil rights movement. That white woman died at the age of, I think, 80-something years old. On her deathbed, this uncivilized mutt confessed that she had lied. Her husband and brother, I think it was her brother-in-law or brother, those uncivilized mutts were the prime suspects. They went to trial and laughed while sitting in trial. They was laughing while sitting in the courtroom. The entire thing was just a big old dog and pony show, fam. They knew they wasn't going to jail because they were judged by a jury of their peers, which included more uncivilized mutts, right? You had Lewis Allen in 1964. Lewis, a black farmer who cooperated with federal investigators in the Medgar Evers murder case, was shot and killed outside of his home. Now, you know, they always try to tell us, hey, man, just, why don't black people try to help the police? So when the black person helped the police did not help him get justice. They did not help the family get justice when that black person put his life on the line and lost it. Nobody was ever held accountable. You got Vernon Dahmer, civil rights leader. Vernon Dahmer died after his home was firebombed by a Ku Klux Klan member because he encouraged black voter registration. Now, I know some of y'all don't like the idea of voting, but it's something about voting that other people understand that makes them violent if you participate. And I always say, like, in any type of situation, you should follow the dollar. Follow the dollar. Like, if voting doesn't mean anything, why do they spend so many hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars every year to get you to vote or not vote? Why do they spend so much money? Why do they go out of their way trying to suppress the vote so much? Why is Trump trying to make sure the elections don't even happen? If it don't mean nothing, if it don't count, why were they killing people? And why are they still killing people if it don't count? I know we don't get the results that we want oftentimes, but I always looked at it like, in order to fix something, you got to be on the inside. You got to get on the inside, or you tear that mother down. You got to make a choice. And everybody can complain, you know. You get to complain. If you feel like you've been done wrong, you should complain. You have a right to complain. But after you complain, you got to do something about it. And sitting on your hands, in my opinion, is not an option. You had Henry Hezekiah D. in 1964. Henry was abducted, beaten, and murdered by Klansmen, and his body was dumped in the Mississippi River. No charges. Charles Eddie Moore, 1964. Charles was abducted alongside Henry D., murdered by the Ku Klux Klan and thrown into the Mississippi River. No charges. James Earl Chaney, 1964. James was a civil rights worker. He was murdered alongside Andrew Goodman and Michael Chuner during the Freedom Summer after being arrested and released into the hands, get this family, he was released into the hands of the Klansmen. They let him go. Hey, you can walk out of jail, go ahead. And the Klan's waiting there for him. They're all in the same game. Benjamin Brown, 1967. Benjamin was shot by police during protest at Jackson State College after officers opened fire on demonstrators. He died at the scene. Wallace Jackson. Wallace was killed when a bomb exploded beneath his truck after he accepted a promotion at a paper mill that had previously been reserved for white employees. You got Lamar Smith, 1955, who was shot and killed on the courthouse lawn in broad daylight after encouraging black voter registration. No one was ever convicted. And then, you know, of course, Medgar Evers, 1963, NAACP field secretary. He was assassinated outside of his Jackson home by a white supremacist. Nobody ever paid. You got Mac Charles Packer, 1959. He was kidnapped from a Mississippi jail by a white mob and lynched before he could stand trial. Nobody went to jail. George W. Lee, 1955, a minister. This is for all of y'all who think that you can just be a good little, preach goodness and love and harmony. They'll kill you too. They killed Martin Luther King Jr., and Martin Luther King Jr. spreaded the word of peace and nonviolence. His nonviolence included not even fighting back. They killed him anyway. They killed Martin, who was anti-violent, who believed in fighting back. Who believed in letting people go upside your head and not fighting back physically. And they killed Malcolm, who believed in sending them to the graveyard if they put their hands on you. You got Mac Charles Parker, 1959. Just said Mac Charles. George W. Lee, a minister, killed. Ben Chester White, murdered by the KKK. And check this out, fam. Ben was murdered by the Ku Klux Klan members who hoped his killing would lure Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to Mississippi so they could kill Martin Luther King Jr. Herbert Lee. Herbert, a voter rights advocate and organizer, was shot and killed in broad daylight by a state legislator after helping register black voters. When you hear people say, well, our ancestors died for this, and it's easy to dismiss that when you really don't know the history. You just hear the words, it's one thing. But when you start attaching names and faces and the stories to this stuff, it should enrage the hell out of you. Clyde Kennard. Clyde died of cancer shortly after being released from prison, where he had been wrongfully imprisoned after attempting to integrate the University of Southern Mississippi. These cases all range from unresolved or controversial modern deaths to historically documented civil rights era murders. So let me see. Did we speak of Melvin Cancer? That was 2025. Prison officials initially told his family he died of a heart attack, but later reporting found blunt force trauma, and FBI opened a homicide investigation involving correctional officers. Raju Napoleon, his family alleges he suffered life-altering brain injuries after being beaten in a county jail, leading to litigation and calls for greater transparency. That's 2023. Jaden Bridges, this is 2025. See, I wanted to start with the most recent, the modern cases, and again, go roll it back to the civil rights era and then bring it back to the date, because some of us, we think it's sweet. We think, okay, we passed all that. No, man, we're in the midst of all of that. Jason Simmons, 2025. Jason was fatally shot by deputies responding for a medical health call. His family has questioned the necessity of the use of force and sought greater access to records. Now, family, these are Black men being murdered for all types of reasons, all innocent. All innocent. These were not criminals being murdered. These were Black people that were hunted and murdered for exercising freedom of speech, or just their right to exist in Mississippi. And look here, fam, this ain't even a drop in the bucket. It's so many names. Look at all these names. Richard Joe Butler, Jesse Brown, Eli Brumfield, Charlie Brown, Alfred Brown, James Botley, Eugene Bells, Tommy Bonds, Mary C. Burnside, Jonas Causey, Lula Mae Anderson, Samuel Bacon, Donna Ann Reason, Clifton Walker, Richard Duckworth, Ernest Green, Jimmy Travis, Herbert Lee, Reverend James Reed, killed in Alabama, but Mississippi-related civil rights work, Jimmy Earl Wilson, Clyde Kennard, Roosevelt Green. So many unidentified victims documented under the Emmett Till Unresolved Civil Rights Crime Act. Many of these cases unresolved. Many of these cases even when investigated by the FBI, got no justice. No justice. I got more names. Clifton Walker, Jasper Greenwood, Willie Edwards Jr., Reverend George W. Dorsey, Ben Chester White, Issam Cassell, Silas Ernest Caston, Richard Joe Butler. This is cold-blooded, man. None of these people received, and look, this is still just a drop in the bucket. Mississippi's DNA is not tainted. It's polluted. Mississippi produces some of the worst people that society has ever known, that civilization has ever known. These are uncivilized mutts on a whole other level. Now, don't think you're safe because you ain't in Mississippi. Now, you got uncivilized mutts all over this country, but Mississippi seems to have a higher concentration of them. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.